vinyl friends and vinyl community. It's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records, and the Record Store Day list is officially out. So have you had a chance to look through it? I imagine every one of us here has looked through it at least once or twice, or 5 or 7 times, or 8 or 10 or 20 times. I do have to say, pretty disappointed in the list myself. Not a whole lot on here that I'm excited about at all. There's some good stuff on here, but most of it are things that I'm not really interested in paying for or buying or picking up or any of that stuff. So I'm going to tell you kind of the highlights for me on this list, and I'd love to hear what your comments are on the list. Now, I will tell you now, I'm not a big jazz guy. I'm not a big, there's some great stuff on here. I'm not into box sets a ton. I'll get a few here and there, but mostly just on artists that I really, really like or really, really love. I'm not going to just get a box to get a box type thing. And so a lot of the stuff on here are just things that just didn't pique my interest. So let me tell you what did pique my interest on the list. So there's 2 drops this year for Record Store Day, one in June and one in July. I like that. I kind of wish they would have done June and August to kind of space them out a little bit, but I like the idea of drops more than one single day. And the reason is you can buy more that way. When you go in on one day, I don't know about you, but I only have a certain amount of budget that I can spend in that one day or 1 month on records, and you'll blow through it really fast. So you may walk out with 3 or 4 records, but that's it. Now, if you had a list like last year where there were at least 2 or 3 records per month that you really wanted, and then others that you thought about, you were more able to get everything you wanted that way because of the drop system. So I really like the drop system, and I hope it's here to stay. I hope it's not just because of the pandemic thing. I really want Record Store Day to think about making the drops a more common thing throughout the year. I think it would be a lot nicer for collectors and a lot better on our wallets as well. So June, so there's a list here of many, many titles. I mean, there is, I think, 12 or 13 pages printed off, 12 pages printed off on this list. So there are a lot of titles in here. And as I peruse through, I seem to see things here and there every time I go through it, but here's the list as I have it on things that interest me. So there are 2 items in the June drop that I really kind of want to get for sure. The first one is the Prince album, Truth. It's an album that he had put together and released as a add-on to the Crystal Ball album back in the day. I don't know if it was ever released on any kind of media before this. I believe it was a download type thing back then, but I could be mistaken. Either way, it's never been on vinyl before, and it's getting a vinyl pressing for Record Store Day, so I'm really excited about that. The price is right. It's going to be in that $26 to $27 or so range. So for me, that's definitely doable. So that's the number one thing on the list for me in the June. Luckily, there's a ton of copies of that one. I believe there's something like 13,000 copies, so it shouldn't be a problem. And living in Minnesota, I'm sure every store here is going to get a ton of them just because of the regional thing. So that's number 1 on my list. Number 2, I'm really intrigued by the Tom Petty release that's coming out. It is it's like a remash of She's the One soundtrack, but also it takes some of the songs that were released on the Wildflowers and All the Rest off of that album and puts another 4 songs in there instead. I think that sounds pretty cool, and I like the fact that they're making it look like a Tom Petty album and not necessarily a soundtrack with this one. So that one piques my interest. I think those 2 are the ones I really want to get. Other items on the July drop that I think are intriguing. AC/DC is my favorite band, so I really kind of want to get the Through the Mists of Time single that they're putting out. Now, looking online, it looks like that's going to be around an $18 12-inch single, and there are only 2 songs on there, Through the Mists of Time and Witch's Spell. There's nothing special about it because those songs are both on the album. It would have been really cool. It's a picture disc as well, so the quality is not going to be the best. But it's AC/DC. I'll probably pick it up because I like that. They're my favorite band, and it's kind of cool. So that is on the list as well as a possibility. And the other one is L7 is putting one of their albums out here. Let me see if I can quickly find the name of that one. Of course, it's going to be on this page. The Beauty Process. So 25th Anniversary Vinyl Edition. This is not an album I am very familiar with at all. So, yeah, I might give this a spin on one of the streaming services to see if I like it or not, but that's on the list as a potential buy as well. For June, that's really all that piqued my interest here. Now, maybe I'm forgetting something, so if you have a specific thing that you think I might like that you saw on the list, let me know. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to look at, and you're going to miss things. So let me know if you think there's anything there. I know there's a John Prine box that's coming out. To me, I like John Prine, but I'm not a huge John Prine fan, so I'm not going to spend the money on that. Let's go to July. So July has some big hitters here, especially if you're like me and you love that hair band or late 80s, early 90s metal scene. The first one is Mr. Big. They're finally reissuing Lean Into It. Now, they're only putting out 500 copies. That tells me that it's probably, or it's more probable than not, that we're going to see that come out in a wider or larger pressing here. And I'm looking real quick to see if how they list it on here. Yeah, I can't tell right off the top of my head, but a lot of times if it's a vinyl or a Record Store Day exclusive, they won't get a pressing. If it's a Record Store Day first, you're going to look at a pressing later down the road. I really hope that's the case, that we see a pressing of that later down the road, because that is an album that many people from my age and my time in middle school, high school have a attachment to and would love to have on vinyl, because it's so hard to find an original right now, and it costs a ton. That one's coming out in July. Again, like I said, it's only 500 copies. The chances that we'll get one here are slim, so I'm not going to have my hopes set really high on getting that one, but that's one I will chase if it is going to be in my area. The other one, Tesla is putting Mechanical Resonance out in a reissue here, but it's coming out through the LMRM or LRMR or whatever it is label that did a really good job with Cinderella's Heartbreak Station and Extreme's first album. Really cool pressing plant out of France that's been doing limited quantities of some really good titles. I have, I think, 3 of their albums. They also did The Great Radio Controversy last year for Record Store Day as well, Black Friday. So they're putting Mechanical Resonance out. I have a copy of Mechanical Resonance, but it's really beat up, so I may go in on this one and try and get a nicer copy. So those are the 2 I'm really looking for. Other ones on the July list, I am thinking about Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young Deja Vu Alternates. I think that's an interesting concept. It's a great album, so I might lean into that and pick that up. The Aliens soundtrack, I might look to get that. And lastly, Kip Moore's album release that's coming out. Gosh, I should have written down the names of the albums before I did all this, but Kip Moore, it's probably going to be under K because they don't advertise properly. Where is K? All right, anyway, Kip Moore, it's an acoustic it's like a 4-song acoustic EP either way. I think it's a live thing. So I'll look to get that probably. I love Kip Moore's stuff. I really wish they'd put his first 2 albums out on vinyl, because those are just absolutely fantastic albums. I have the other stuff he's done that has been on vinyl, so I'll probably look to pick that up. It's cheap. I think it's around $15. Like I said, a 4-song EP. Worth it there. That's it though, guys. That's all on this huge 12-page list that I found any interest in. So what am I missing? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Record Store Day list. I know there's a ton of people who are really excited about this list, and that's awesome. For me, it's just not there. Not a lot of stuff I'm hunting. So the question for me now is going to be, how limited of quantities items are there going to be that I really want, and can I just go later in the day and pick up what I want easily? That's the question. We'll find out. I do love getting there early, and I do love sitting in line and just hanging with people, so I might just go anyway early just because that's tradition. Either way, looking forward to Record Store Day this June and July. It's always a fun time for me. I know a lot of people have different opinions on that. You want mine, check out my podcast on Record Store Day and why I think it's important. I hope you will enjoy that if you do. Links are below. I have a link tree below. You can find all sorts of different things. You can find the YouTube channel, obviously you're there. You can find my podcast links. You can find my Facebook, my Instagram as well. Check those out. I post everything I listen to during the day. You can see all the new things I get as I spin them for the first time before I even put out videos. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a great day. And until next time, keep spinning, Vinyl friends.